everybody, and welcome to the As You Are podcast. My name's Leslie Vandergans. I'm the founder of Enso Coaching and Consulting, and I'm here with Libby Detling, one of our amazing coaches.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest, one of our old colleagues, dear friends, Schuyler Williamson.
Man, it's so good to be here.
I know, it's so good to see you. It's been such a long time, but we're pumped. Schuyler is an entrepreneur. He's running multiple businesses. We have some history together as he was leading a pretty large division. Saw some pretty massive growth with that division, and we have been kind of paying attention to your growth and some of the stuff that you've been doing. And so we're excited to talk to you a little bit about leadership and running a business and all those things.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Let's see if I can impress you guys.
That's easy peasy. Easy peasy. Well, so Schuyler, I thought it would be nice to just kind of start with your journey because you have an interesting background. I mean, I knew this when we started working together that you went to West Point.
Yeah,
Is that right? Yeah, you went to West Point.
Yeah.
Athlete, military leader.
Yeah.
That was kind of the background, and then kind of got into the business world. And so I'd love to just hear, your journey in getting to where you are.
Yeah, I think at the core of it, I am a military guy, and so you wouldn't have to hang out with me very long before you would realize, like, oh man, this guy's a tactician. Right? Like, I think of the world as a battlefield, but I really think my leadership journey started as a child because I was the oldest of three brothers. And we were very humble beginnings. My parents had me super young, and you just don't make a lot of money young, right? So we didn't have a lot of money. We had a lot of love, not a lot of money. Grew up in a tough area of town. And so my brothers and I, we really had to pay attention to what we were doing to not get ourselves in a situation where, we might not walk out of that. Mm-hmm. And so, I kind of grew up leading through that. Of course, I played ball, which is ultimately how I got to West Point. I didn't make the grades to get into West Point. And so at West Point, they don't have scholarships. They can award positions at the school to people based on athletics and things like that. And so I met with the congressman and I did all the things. And then the baseball team actually awarded me a position at West Point, which was a huge opportunity for me. And, I had scholarships at some big Division I schools and some Ivy League schools. And I had opportunity, but nothing like West Point. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that I got a chance to go to West Point because the first thing they did was tear me down.
Yeah.
They tore my ego away. They tore everything that I thought I was away so that they could construct me back up to be a leader that was prepared for chaos. Mm-hmm. And luck would have it that while I was there, they changed the rules on who could play professional sports. And so as a junior, I'm at West Point, they changed the rules that, hey, now you can play professional ball.
Yeah.
And I was a good ball player. Mm. And so I went from somebody that was like just playing for fun to now, there's 25 professional scouts in the stands watching me play ball. Mm. And, I thought of myself as a field general, even on the ball field. I was the catcher, and the catcher directs the play.
Yeah.
And, Detroit Tigers drafted me, so I got to play professional baseball. And I only did that for one season because all of my friends from West Point and my younger brother were all overseas fighting. So this was in the early 2000s when Iraq and Afghanistan were just they were just a mess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I remember my brother came back from combat. He fought in the Battle for Fallujah, which was a very tough fight, and he was just so hurt. And the stories, it hurt mentally, right? He was just so wounded mentally.
Yeah.
And the stories that he had about his leadership, it just hit me on the inside in a way that I never would have expected. So hard that I called Detroit and I said, hey, look, I've got to go serve our country.
Wow.
And they were like, "What?"
Yeah.
I mean,
we got big plans for you. Don't leave. They loved me there, and it was because I was 22 and operated like a 30-year-old compared to all of these kids that get drafted out of high school to play ball, and they're just a mess.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right.
And so if I did anything for Detroit other than lead, that would just be icing on the cake. They just wanted me in their system to lead their players. But I just, I didn't think I was going to be the best officer in the military, but I was going to care. and I was ready, and I believe God built me as a warrior. And so I went and I served our army for 6 years. I fought in Iraq, in Baghdad, and I fought in Afghanistan on the Iranian border. And I tell people I didn't pump gas, like I was a trigger puller.
Yeah.
We were fighting every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And so I got to lead in the most extreme environments that you could lead in.
Yeah.
And so, and I kind of liked it. I was succeeding and I felt good about it. But I love my wife. I've been married to my wife since we were 23. And I remember right before we went to Afghanistan, I was like, hey, I want to have kids. Like, I want to have a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I want a whole litter of them, like I just can't wait. And Kristen, she's always been very mature. I think you have to be very mature to be a soldier's wife, knowing that they're just on all the time.
Yeah.
And so she's very mature, but she kind of laid it out for me. She's like, hey, man, look, I'm never going to leave you. So don't take this conversation as me leaving, but I don't want to have a child with you and then you not come home.
Oh,
and I be this single mother with a child, a widow to a combat soldier. And she's like, we'll have kids. But I'm not going to have kids this way. And oh, by the way, this isn't the life that I dreamed up for us, that you'd be gone all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I got on the plane to go to Afghanistan, and I thought, it's a long way. So I got to think about it a good bit and decided then at the beginning of that deployment that my life was going to change. I was going to choose my family over my career. And so I exited the military. Now, again, my life is just a series of blessings. And I realized like some of it is I did the right things, but a lot of it's just timing and just literally just gifts that I've been given. But I got into the MBA program at McCombs here in Austin, and I took the GMAT in Afghanistan, believe it or not. I finished up the day's work.
Oh my God.
And got on the one computer that connected to the Wi-Fi, and somehow it didn't drop signal. Because
great place to focus.
Everything. Great place to focus. Yeah, and that was like in the few hours that I get to sleep.
Yeah, right.
And so I took it, and so I didn't do awesome.
No.
I didn't study.
Yeah.
So I didn't study, and then I took it while I was in a combat zone. So I didn't do great.
Right.
And I came home from Afghanistan, and I went and met with the dean there, who was like the final step. And we had a great conversation, and then we were walking away. I was going for the close, I'm a sales guy. So I was going for the close, and I was like, hey, look, I could take the GMAT again if that matters. I realized that like this is on the low end of what you guys accept. And he's like, don't worry about it. I was like, oh man, look, it's just another gift, another blessing, right?
Yeah.
And so when you look at my class at the McCombs School of Business, the profile of the student, I had the lowest score on the range.
Yeah.
Like I was that guy. But I McCombs led me to Keller Williams in the corporate office. I was recruited out of there. So I was given the gift of learning real estate, and kind of got to lead with some really exceptional people, to translate what I did on the battlefield to corporate America and kind of learn from a good, healthy business what leading looks like in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, I moved out to be an entrepreneur on my own, and I've just kind of taken all the models along the way.
Yeah.
And here I am today. I've been blessed to have a couple of companies that are doing really well, and lead with some great leaders. I actually have leaders that work with me now, so it's awesome. I'm like just kind of helping them.
Yeah.
And here we are today. Yeah, and so at one point I was like, man, what's the next step of me like helping the world out? And it was the book, and I thought about, okay, well, let me just capture all the models that I'm using on a day-to-day basis and put it in the book. And so I put that out in the world, but I'm here today, just after influence, trying to grow my businesses, trying to be the best leader I can. And who knows what's for the future? My wife always jokes. She's like, "Man, are you going to get into politics? Are you really going to do that?"
Maybe.
And the funny thing is like I have never said that I'm going to get into politics personally. Never said that.
Right.
I've never said no. But everybody thinks like one day, like I'll just go be the governor of Texas or something.
Hey.
But we'll see.
I mean,
Who knows?
Well, I'd vote for you.
yeah.
Regardless of what party you ran for, I would 100%. Okay, so here's a question for you.
Yeah.
I want to kind of go back to when you were, because the thing that is so interesting to me is that each of these big moments in your life are very different.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that there were big learnings and big growth moments in each of those. And so can we just start with when you were playing baseball?
Yeah.
Like what are some moments that you think of that either triggered leadership or triggered such a key moment of learning for you that stayed with you as you kind of continued to evolve in your journey?
Man, I think I heard two different questions. So the first thing I will say is something that stayed with me forever.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is an extraordinary sport in that you can fail as a hitter 7 times out of 10 and still be a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get 3 hits out of 10, your name will go on the list of the best hitters of all time.
Yeah.
And I think early in my life, I experienced some success just because I was bigger and faster than other kids. And, as a man, size when you're young and athleticism, like it can help. It makes you popular. It makes you a lot of things. And so I needed a sport like baseball to say, hey, dude, if you're not the best every time, if you don't win every time, it's still okay. Because like in business, for example, and this is one of the lessons I just try to help people understand is to be successful in business, all you're really trying to do is stack as many good decisions as you can in a row. Doesn't mean you're going to get all of them right, but as many as you can get in a row, that will determine your speed to, a bigger business.
Right.
And it isn't about getting every one of them right. It's about just accumulating as many as you can.
Great.
And so baseball was like a crash course in that, like to go up there and just be humbled every single day and then be excited that you went 1 for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, just sales.
Yeah.
You guys have recruited, both of you in your career. Like recruiters, they have a lot of rejection, a lot of failure, and still, if you get one good one,
real good one, we doing okay.
All right, good week.
Yeah.
Got a good one.
Absolutely.
And
exactly.
I think that's important for leaders to just acknowledge. And Dan Sullivan wrote a great book called The Gap and the Gain. We make a choice every day. We can live in the gain, like we can look back and see how far we've come, or we can live in the gap, basically look into the future and say, man, we got so much more to do.
Right.
And the way that you see the world, whether it's in the gap or the game, will determine a lot of your personal joy and happiness. And I think a healthy balance is probably right.
Right.
But I think today I have a healthy balance of the gain and the gap because of baseball. All right, so that's one.
I love that.
I think an aha I had from a leadership perspective is when I was in high school. My coach then at the time, like sat me down one day and said, dude, you played the position catcher that is supposed to lead the team. And so you got to lead.
Yeah.
Like you can't, because I was a quiet kid. Even though I'd been successful, and to this day, I'm kind of quiet. I mean, I'm performing here, so I'm going to be outgoing on the camera.
Right. But naturally.
Naturally, I'm not the guy that like looks forward to going to big groups of people. That just drains my batteries pretty quick. And so I would just do my job and keep my mouth shut. And I had done that my whole life, and it had served me well. But then I actually stepped onto the ball field where leadership matters, right? You can't just win a game haphazardly in high school, not where I'm from. You actually had to come together as a team and like perform together.
Yeah.
And the coach was like, well, you chose the position that has to be the leader. And so today and every day after this for the rest of your baseball career, you got to step up and lead. And so it was the first time in my life, I think, that I was vocal in my leadership. And again, I'm just that's the biggest kind of like slap in your face, step up. You have to be vocal as a leader. You can't just be this meek, follow me type. I mean, there is a lot of value to follow me to success.
Right.
But that ain't going to motivate not everybody's looking to see, oh, that's what it looks like. I'm going to follow. Some people have to be told. They have to be explained to. They have to be motivated.
Yeah.
And you have to use your words, right?
Like you tell our children, use your words.
Yeah, I mean, and that like it matters,
Absolutely.
right? It doesn't matter if they're 5 or if they're 25.
Yeah.
You have to use your words with some people.
Yeah.
And so baseball gave me those two.
What would you say? So when you were told step up and lead, like what did that mean? What did it look like? How did you embrace that?
Yeah. Well, I know how I embrace it now, and I can communicate it much better now than maybe I did. Like what I heard back then was open your mouth, and like be a vocal leader, not just a leader by example. Today, I know that leadership starts with communication. So maybe it's all the same. And I believe that. So I believe in 2 definitions for leadership. One's Gary Keller's, which you guys probably know, is teach people how to think so that they can get what they want. And if we recruit people that want the same things as us, we all get what we want, right? But I also love John Maxwell's definition of leadership, which is influence. And so I believe that if we can teach people how to think and then we can influence them, then we can lead a pretty awesome organization, right? And we don't want everybody to think the same,
right?
But at a high level, we need us all to be in line, right? So we can move together.
Yeah.
And so I think of the world in models, and I believe things like your purpose statement and your vision statement, like those are just models. People don't talk about it as a model, but they really are just models to teach people how to think, right?
100%.
And so I think a leader's job is to make sure that, hey, you understand the purpose, what we're all after, okay? Why we're doing this business. You understand the vision, right? And I subscribe to Gino Wickman's kind of EOS type mindset. So we got a 1-year vision, we got a 3-year, and we got a 10-year, right? And they all kind of move in a direction. So the team understands the vision, and with a vision, we can backwards plan to today and create a plan.
Yeah.
And then it just comes to accountability, right? And training and motivating and equipping. And so, but you have to have all of those tools are to help you communicate as a leader. And I think if you're not using those tools, which most people would say are the basics for communication in business, I mean, you're just missing out.
Yeah.
And so now I know that that's leadership. I've got to communicate every day. And really in the morning, I'm saying, well, who does my team need me to be so that they can be their best? And so did they need me to touch on the purpose again? Did they need me to touch on the vision? Do they need me to touch on the plan? Do they need me to hold them accountable? Do they need me to equip them or train them? Like, who do they need Schuyler to be?
Yeah.
And then I just go be that.
Yeah. I mean, I love it, Schuyler, because what I'm hearing you say is that, so much of this leadership is about them and their needs versus you being the person who's like, I'm going to just, I'm going to go out and dictate or communicate, et cetera. And I think that's it could be a misconception for some leaders, right?
Yeah.
And that I stand on the pedestal, I tell everybody what to do and it's my vision and, whatever.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing you say is being really, really aware of how the people around you are functioning.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's, you and I were just chatting a minute ago about the difference between a manager and a leader. A manager looks at their KPIs and thinks, I got to do something, right? And it's an I statement. And you know what? We got to have managers. Like a part of your job as a leader is to manage.
Yeah.
So you have to look for where I can insert myself. Leaders aren't so worried about the KPIs. They are, but like leaders are worried about who they need to be in the moment so that the team can be its best, right? And it's not just best professionally. Like we need to be who we need to be so that our people can live their best personal lives, to be physically healthy, spiritually healthy. I mean, just like loving, how they're going to we're going to leave our mark on this earth. Like all of that stuff is kind of the leader's responsibility. And it's the job's different every day.
Yeah.
It's different every
100%.
day. I took like we it's funny. I've never talked about politics. We're going to talk about it twice in a 20-minute setting. But like my children, they'll ask about the president of the United States, and I'll just say, hey, look, babe, we pray for our leaders. And I'll say the president of the United States is the hardest job in the world because they have to wake up and say, who does the world need me today to be their best?
Yeah.
Like no other country has to worry about it as much as we do.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are the leader of the world, and I would have it no other way. But like that's the hardest job in the world because you have to say, what does the world need me to be today? And it's different every day.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's probably different every second, but like, I mean,
exactly.
But if we were taking our job seriously, that's who we would be as leaders. We wake up and say, who does our family need us to be today? Who does our team need us to be today? This random stranger that I'm about to bump into, who do they need me to be today? To just like, leave them better, man, every day.
How did you get to that?
Yeah.
Like what got you there to recognize that and to have that awareness?
Man, I think I'd be lying if I didn't say it was because I read a lot. I read a lot, and then I think. I'm actually the leader that spends time thinking.
Good.
And so
I mean,
so good, Schuyler.
There are a lot of.
I mean, and so I see the world as a battlefield, right? And so when we would mission plan as officers in the military, we would look at the situation before we would actually start planning. I think most of the world just starts planning.
Yeah.
And
it's really
and there's good to that because most people, we just take some action, man.
Yeah.
Like, and if you take action, that's a win for us.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's good, but it's not the best, right? The best is, can I look at the situation and understand what's going on before I start mission planning? And so in the military, it's like, okay, well, what's the environment look like? Are we in an urban setting, desert, jungle? What's the weather going to look like? What does the enemy look like? You know, what do they have in their capability? What do we have in our capability? And then when you understand the situation, then you say, okay, now I've got this problem to solve. Now let's plan to it, right?
Yeah.
I think all of that situation planning. Oh, and one other piece in the situation is what's the most probable outcome here and what's the most dangerous outcome? Like you just ask yourself that. And so early in the morning before my children get up, I get up real early because I need some quiet time. And my little guy, he gets up so early. He tries to disrupt me every day.
You're just pushing your time earlier.
Yeah, it's a competition.
Trying to get away from you.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about it is he just wants to come see his daddy.
Yeah.
And so like if he keeps getting up earlier, we'll just hang out more and more every day. But
so sweet.
But early in the morning, you know, I'm doing all of my reading and then I just sit with it. And I'm thinking through the situation that we're in as our company. And I'm thinking, what's the most probable outcome of today? And what's the most dangerous outcome of today? And then the difference between me reacting as a leader and responding as a leader is, did I think through the things that I need to spend time thinking through at the start of this day? And I think my team, and this is why I titled the book The Steady Leader, I think my team loves me because I'm steady for them. And it's not because I'm not like I'm the duck that like under the water, the flaps are just going. Yeah. Oh yeah. But on top, I look steady. Yeah. And that's all it has to be. You just have to look steady to your team, and it builds trust and confidence and belief, and they feel safe, right? And so I bring steadiness to my team. And the reason why I bring steadiness is because I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it before it happens.
Yeah.
And so when something happens, when we come into contact with the enemy, I'm like, well, of course we came into contact. This is where I would attack me if I was them.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just execute the plan we talked about.
Yeah.
All right, it happened.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Now we just do what we all talked about.
Yeah. So with this theme of steadiness, you know, business is business, right? Like nothing's gonna blow up. Yeah. Like we're good.
Yeah.
But military, you're in combat.
Yeah.
And this is like life and death.
Yeah.
And there's something about the steadiness necessary. And also the stakes are much different.
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Like, how do you lead through life and death? Because I can relate, like,
Yeah.
and I think the team would say, like, shit blows up with our, with our company all the time. And we'll just be like, it's okay. It's just
Here's how we
business.
pivot.
We're going to move forward.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, we still have our families. Like, we're good. That is not the case.
That's a lot of maturity for you to say that too, though. Not everybody's super mature.
Sure, and I think yes, I also think we do a lot of work too. Like, this is part of the foundation of our business is I got to do all this work for myself.
Yeah,
a whole lot of work for myself, right, to make sure that we stay rational around that. But I do think, you're an officer in the military. You said your finger's on the trigger. You are in a place where it is life and death. And how do you lead with a steady hand when the stakes are that high?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, I do think it starts first with doing that hard thing for a higher purpose, for a bigger purpose. Mm-hmm. And so for a lot of the soldiers, they're doing it for each other. Like, you're my brother, no greater love than to lay my life down for you, right? And so we're all brothers, and we would gladly lay our lives down for one another. And so for some people, that's enough. For others, they're doing it for their family back home. For some of us, we're doing it for our country, right? We're doing it, and I think it all kind of comes back for the love of another. But you do need to understand why you're there. And so there was a component of, like, I'm serving people in a way that they can't serve themselves. And so I believe in the liberties and the freedoms that we have and the way that we got there. And so I'm willing to defend that, right? And that's a very combat specific thing. But the broader leadership deal here is, like, the purpose was clear.
Right.
I think tactically, I led myself every single day to make sure that I was in the peak position that I could be as a leader for the situation I was going to be in that day. And so I think there's three parts of being a healthy individual as a leader, and you have to lead yourself to this. I think one is physical. Most people can get their arms around that, right? And that's just eating whole foods. It's making sure that you move your body. It's making sure you get enough recovery. Like, those, I mean, keep it simple. I think a lot of people complicate that.
Right,
but if you can, if you can do the whole foods, drink water, recover well, and like, if you can do those simple things, move your body, like, you're going to be healthy. And so even though we were in combat, like, I would exercise every day. Because I believe that if I exercise my body, then it's harder for stress to live in my body. Right? Mentally, you got to be mentally healthy. And I'm not talking about it in the diagnosis that most people would go straight to. I'm saying a mentally healthy person is a growth-oriented person, meaning that today I'm going to be better than I was yesterday, and there's some things I need to do. But the world is my opportunity, right? I'm positive, right? I love the old saying that no problem was ever solved with negativity. Negativity identifies problems, but if you're going to solve it, you have to be positive
move to solutions,
at some point, right? That's why 100%. That's why we have to construct our teams with pessimistic and positive people, because the pessimistic will identify the issues, and the positive ones will actually solve the problem. Put them together, get a nice little force there. But you need to be growth oriented. And if you're growth oriented, if you can see every setback as an opportunity to get better, then your endurance is stronger, and you can endure more. And then I think you got to be spiritually strong, right? I think that if you're not spiritually strong, then you fall into the trap where you're living your life for yourself and you believe that I can do everything. If you're spiritually strong, you understand that you're living your life for others. That you came here to be one for another person, and you're not in complete control. You're just there to do your best. Right. And I think when you put those three things together, you can be steady. And I think of it as like a stool. So I think your mental health is a stool, your physical health is a leg of the stool, and then your spiritual health, I think, is two legs of the stool. Because if you have spiritual health, you can endure more. But hey, look, if I'm on a boat in the ocean and it's a flat seas, like I'm athletic, I could probably sit on a one-legged stool. I could do it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But as soon as the waves start to pick up, as soon as chaos starts to enter my life, then hopefully we're sitting on four-legged stools, right?
Yeah.
We can just endure more.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy once tell me, he's like, hey, Schuyler, instead of spiritual health being two legs of the stool, why not relational health? And I think that was brilliant. Like I'm an introverted guy, so I don't wake up in the morning and think like, who am I going to get to see today? I love people. I mean, clearly I love people.
Today you did though.
Yeah.
Today you were like, who do I get to see
Today
today?
I put on my nicest shirt. Like I did all the things. But I like that too. I love that, because you could have a four-legged stool where it's mental, physical, spiritual, and relational. Because you know what? When you just don't have it in a day, if you've surrounded yourself with really extraordinary people, they can get you through the day.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been married for over 20 years now. That she's brought me through things that I probably couldn't have gotten through on my own, and without her, who knows who I am today.
Yeah.
And so the relationship piece does matter. But I think if you can lead yourself in a way that you're like continually to increase your health in those ways, then you can kick open a door where someone's going to shoot at you and you can still do your job.
Man, it's really
and you
good.
can do it over
really
and
powerful.
over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing that I'll say is, people have kind of put the word burnout on a pedestal. And to me, the word burnout is it's someone's doing something that they're not passionate about.
100%.
Yeah.
This is
what we
we're on
big
it. I mean,
piece of our
it's
businesses.
we talk about it as a misalignment of values, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're doing something and then you're kind of rubbing up against something that is, seated in you.
Passion's the fuel source that never runs out.
Right?
And don't get caught into the weeds on passion. Passion can be what you do. Passion can be who you do it with.
Yeah.
Passion can be the outcome, the big why. Like
Yep.
I'm doing
100%.
real estate today because I believe it can help me accomplish this bigger thing in the future.
Right.
I mean, you can find passion, but you got to look for it, and then you got to exercise it.
100%, 100%. And it is, sometimes I think we're also firm believers of like that when you start to feel that feeling of burnout, it's just indicators to do a little bit of reflection. Like any of these like things that are kind of starting to happen to us, or when we're feeling away, it's just a good moment to stop and be like, what's happening?
Oh,
like I'm not feeling the way that I used to feel about X, Y, and Z,
just,
right?
just a point on feelings. Because again, we're raising kids, right?
Yeah.
And so I sit one of my jokers down, and I'm like, hey, you're having some big feelings right now.
Yeah.
Right? Look, I'm not a psychologist. I just, and our therapist.
Yeah.
But like, I've tried to learn some things along the way, and I'm like, hey, you're having some big feelings right now. Can you tell me why you're having those feelings, or can you tell me what those feelings are telling you? And if we just take that conversation and move it to business, when people worry, to me, it sounds like, well, your plan's not good enough. You haven't thought it all through.
Yep.
Right? Our feelings tell us things.
100%.
But we have to ask the questions.
Exactly.
And we have to have thinking time.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And if like, I mean, just to your point, right? Like if raising children is not a mirror of just how we have evolved to mask all of the things that were kind of occurring for us as children.
Yeah.
It's just the funniest thing, right? Like we just kind of revert back to that natural state of talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
Figure out those solutions,
it's
right?
real simple.
Oh,
it
yeah.
really is
Oh,
simple,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. Well, so you just briefly mentioned John Maxwell, and I was thinking about his 5 levels of leadership, and the very top of his little pyramid is going out and influencing others. And you talked very briefly about your book, and I'd love to like just take a minute on like what was that for you, that journey of I want to write this book.
Yeah. So we're experiencing some success in business. And part of being spiritually healthy is I spend time in the morning reading my Bible and just praying. And, I crave a relationship with God. I really do. I mean, if that's going to bring righteousness to my life, it'll happen. Like, cause I want to hear from God. I want to obey. I want to be the best, lover of him and people that I can possibly be. Okay. And so I'm sitting in my quiet time one morning and I just hear the word influence. And I'm like, that's kind of a joke, right? Cause I don't, like when I hear the word influence, I think social media and like influencer. But when you feel like you got a word, you obey it, right? Or else all of that was just for show. Yeah. So I was like, okay, influence, right? And to me, influence means leadership. That's what 100%. That's what John Maxwell wrote. So I went and read 4 books on how to become an influencer.
Oh my gosh.
Because because I'm a reader, right? And so I'm just, people have gone before us. They have ways of doing things really well. And so I looked at all of these things that influencers do, and the one common thread in their model that I felt like, oh, I could do that, was write a book. And look, y'all know me, but the world doesn't know me. Like, if it's just hard work, I'll do it.
Right.
The hard work isn't the thing.
Yeah.
So most people don't write a book because it's hard work and it requires high effort over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And so I was willing to do that. But I had to come up with an idea like, okay, well, what am I going to write about? So I'm in real estate. Do I write a real estate book? I'm like, there's no passion in that.
Right.
I mean, I love to sell a house, but like,
do you want to read about
it doesn't light my light bulb up, you know? So I started to ask myself, what gift do I bring my family? What gift do I bring my team? Like the people, the ones that would read this book, what would they say about me that would be maybe my special thing? And I pondered on that for a long time. And I think it was that I'm just steady. Who you get today is who you're going to get tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And it doesn't matter if you're blowing me up or if you're patting me on the back, like I'm going to be your guy. And there's a blessing and curse to that, but I'm steady and my people feel safe with me and they know I love them and I don't behave in a way that they ever think, oh, does Schuyler not like me anymore? No, I'm behaving every day in a loving way. I love them. I may correct them, but I'm loving them. And so I settled on this concept of like, okay, well, everything that's out there in the leadership space, I believe, is to get you to a point where you're just a steady producer, a steady leader.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just share my models. And so I wrote the book in 3 sections. The first one's lead yourself. The second one is lead your team. And then it's lead your company. And I believe that you have to move in that process and then they never stop. Okay. So once you've mastered leading yourself, then you can lead a team.
Yeah.
Once you've mastered leading a team, then you can lead a company. But leading a company doesn't mean you stop leading yourself.
100%.
And it also doesn't mean you stop leading a team.
I think we see a big breakdown of those with a lot of people.
Right. Sure. I mean, and so then it just becomes a continuous process of improvement in those 3 areas. And, that's why we read. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have 100%. Coaches and consultants and like all these peers that we can bounce. I mean, we're just continuously trying to get better at those 3 areas of our life. And to the extent we can do that, maybe we'll just continue to perform.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, and so Schuyler, like what, with all of these things that you've done and then putting out this book, like how would you define what your purpose is?
Yeah. I just love God and love his people. To me is how can I get the world to follow me as a leader? How can I influence the world to just bring more love to the table? And so that's what I'm after. If I can get people to follow me. So it's funny, like I'm on my podcast and the things that I put out to the world, I'm talking about, having healthy relationship with your family. I'm like how to build wealth, how to be physically fit. Like I'm talking about all these things that like the world wants. It's all to get you into my like little mousetrap.
Yeah.
And then once you're in there, it's just all about love. I mean, it's the same, again, like if I love my children, so I keep coming back to them. But like, at the end of the day, Daddy is trying to teach you how to love God and love other people. Like that's everything that I'm trying to do is to teach you to do those 2 things, right? We got to respect people. Why do you got to respect people? Because they need to feel loved by you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You have to lead. You have to make hard decisions. Why? So that people will follow you and you can love them more.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything is all about loving.
Comes back to love.
Yeah, and we complicate things.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, if we we make life more than just those things.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And that's okay, right? Those of us that have received gifts in our life, we are to steward those gifts and do more with that, right? Like you guys have this platform. You have a gift and you are to steward it well.
100%.
But we put that on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It still all comes back to like, okay, well, at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror, did you love somebody?
100%.
Did you love yourself? Did you love somebody else? Did you love your company? Did you walk this earth loving all day long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I pray that when I go to sleep, for the rest of time, that on my headstone, it's like, well, daggum, Schuyler taught the world how to love, or maybe he showed the world how to love.
Yeah.
I love that.
And if I can have that attached to my name, then I'll be, it'll be a job well done.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it, man.
No.
It's so good.
You are doing it.
It's so sweet. Well, so then, Schuyler, what is next? Like you've got these successful businesses.
Yep.
You wrote this book. Like you've had this incredible journey.
Yep.
What's next?
We're continuing to build our businesses. And anybody can go to SchuylerWilliamson.com and just see what we're up to.
Mm-hmm.
My next book, I'm messing around with the idea of either just titling it "The Minister of Love" or just title it "Love the Unlovable."
Oh.
But my father is he's the regional director of our laundromat. There's corporate-owned stores, right? We got our franchises, but our corporate-owned stores, my father is the regional manager of that. And we were just kind of chatting it up one day, and he was just telling me all these stories of how he's loving on these people in the stores. And he's like, yeah, I pray on the way to work every morning. I pray that God just shows me one person that needs love, and I love on them, right? And you wonder where I get it all. But he just randomly tells me these stories, and I can tell you a couple of them, but I'll just tell you the last one he told me was he was closing the store down. One of his managers were out of town, so he was closing the store down, something he doesn't do often. And this was back when the Houston Astros were in the World Series, and they didn't win. All right, so it was Game 7, and they didn't win. All right, so the store. So it was the end of the night. They were still, I think they were in like the 8th inning, and it was time to close the store. And there was 3 homeless people in there, and they were watching it. And we, laundromats are in low income areas, so homeless, that's not a thing. And during the winter when the Baseball World Series is, it's cold. So we're not going to run them off. Sure. As long as they're behaving, we let them warm up in the store. But it's just the 3 of them. And my dad could have very easily said, "Hey guys, it's time to close." And they would have said, "Yes, sir," and they would have walked out.
Right.
But he saw them and he thought, if I run them off, they're not going to be able to watch the rest of this game.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And so my dad put on a pot of coffee and brought them out, all a cup of coffee, and then he just hung out with them and watched them.
Yeah,
and just finished
the game.
And just finished the game with them, just making them feel loved and just as much as like a right to be there as he had, and just loved them, and not anybody else, but like most people would not have treated them like an equal.
Yeah.
Right.
They would have run them off or thought like, I want to go home. I'm tired, or whatever. Like, and my dad, he just nonstop. The other day he called me. He's like, "Hey, dude," he's like, "All right, if I want to hire this guy to clean our parking lots, what all do we need to have?" And I was like, "Well, he's just like any other employee, but he's homeless." I'm like, "Well, is he a citizen?" Yeah, he's a citizen. I asked him. All right, so I was like, "Okay, well, we'll just 1099 him.
Yeah.
Whether he pays his taxes or not, that's not
him.
That's not our. But like, hire the guy, Dad."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh," he was like, good. Because this guy, he hangs out and he kind of helps me talk to the other homeless folks in the area. And he's like, "And we need our parking lot clean, so it'd be good." And I was like, yeah, awesome, Dad.
Yeah.
And so he hires the guy. And when I come to the stores, they like roll out the red carpet and they like, everybody's looking good. Yeah. And they're like waiting at the front door for me when I pull up. So this happened a few weeks, and then I showed up to the store, and I had forgotten about it, honestly. My dad does stuff like this all the time, so I just like forgotten about it. And I'm walking up to the front of the store, and this clearly this homeless guy comes walking up to me with his long beard, kind of scraggy, just looks homeless. He goes, "You Schuyler?" And I go, "Yeah, man." And he goes, "Hey, I'm Dave. You guys just hired me." He's like, "Take a look around at this parking lot. It looks good, doesn't it?" And I'm like, "Dave, this parking lot looks awesome, dude."
Oh, my God.
Like, we are so grateful to have you. And, my dad tells me all the time that you're just doing such a good job. He goes, "Man, I love your dad." He's like, "I love your dad." And you don't have to worry about this parking lot ever again. And I go, "Dude, I just appreciate you being on our team, man."
Yeah.
And kind of, gave him he hugged me, gave him a big hug.
Yeah.
And it's just like, my dad is doing that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna take his best 10 stories and just like love the unlovable. And I'm gonna like write these 10 stories.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be his
Sweet
legacy.
homage. Yeah,
but we're selling the franchises and we want our franchisees to be just like him.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, our concept's called Laundry Love for a reason. I mean, we want the most loving team in the business.
Yeah.
And he leads by example. And so, when we start to court with our franchisee, we're gonna share this book with our prospects so that they understand like
this is the
mean business.
Standard.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't expect you to be like this guy. Like he's a literal angel, but like just try to be close to him. If you can think the same things that he does, then we're like in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I love
So that's my next project there.
I love that.
That's
okay,
amazing.
good. Okay, so people can get your book where? How did Amazon?
Yeah, you can go to Amazon.
Study Leader?
So thesteadyleader.com, or you can just go to the Amazon and search The Steady Leader.
Perfect. And then SchuylerWilliamson.com.
Yep.
And learn more about you and all your businesses.
Yeah, reach out to me.
This was so great.
I know.
Schuyler.
I loved it.
Thank you. Thanks for being
glad.
here. Thanks for sharing your story. And, there's so many tidbits to take away from it. So
yeah, it was a pleasure.
just
I'm
appreciate
grateful.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode. And as always, subscribe on all platforms. We'll see you soon.